Good day, my name is Carl Angelo Entapa, and today I'm going to present my report which covers the first topic of our presentation, which is biodiversity and invasions. Biodiversity and invasions. What is biodiversity? Biological diversity or biodiversity is all the different kinds of life you'll find in one area. The variety of animals, plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria that make up our natural world. Each of these species and organisms work together in ecosystems like an intricate web to maintain balance and support life. In other words, it is the essential process that supports all life on Earth, including humans. That said, biodiversity exists because of the life forms that resides on our planet. And here comes the word population. A population is a group of individuals of the same species living in the same area or interbreeding and sharing genetic information such as humans, animals, plants, mushrooms, and many more. The species, on the other hand, is different from population, and there are 9 primary reasons. 1. Utilitarian. The utilitarian means that a species or group of species provides a product that is of direct value to people. An example of this is civet cats or Milo, producing civet coffees. 2. Public service. Public service means that nature and diversity provide some service, such as taking up carbon dioxide or pollinating flowers that are essential or valuable to human life and would be expensive or impossible to do ourselves. An example is photosynthesis. 3. Ecological. Ecological refers to the fact that species have their roles in their ecosystems. Some of these are necessary for the persistence of their ecosystems. Perhaps even for the persistence of all life. Scientific research tells us which species have such ecosystem roles. An example is that herbivores eat plants, carnivores eat meat, and omnivores eat both. The humans belong to the omnivore category. 4. Moral. The moral reason for valuing biodiversity is that species have a right to exist, independent of their value to people. Take endangered species as an example, like Philippine eagles. 5. Theological. The theological reason is that some religions value nature and diversity, and a person who subscribes to that religion supports this belief. 6. Aesthetic refers to the beauty of nature, including a variety of life. 7. Recreational. The recreational is self-explanatory. The people enjoys getting out into nature not just because it is beautiful to look at, but because it provides us with helpful activities that we enjoy. Some of those people who enjoys outdoor activities, and an example of that are campers and mountain climbers. 8. Spiritual. Spiritual describes the way contact with nature and its diversity often moves people, and uplifting often perceived as a religious experience. Example activities are meditation and yoga. 9. Creative. Creative refers to the fact that artists, writers, and musicians find stimulation for their creativity in nature and its diversity. An example is an artist that loves to draw a landscape of nature. That's the end of my report. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something.
Ma'am, good morning and good morning classmates, and for today's video I will be discussing the basics of biodiversity. What comes in our minds when we say biodiversity? Well, biodiversity is a shortened term for biological and diversity. It refers to all the variety of life that can be found on Earth, as well as to the communities that they form and the habitats in which they live. Genetic diversity, defined as the total number of genetic characteristics of a species, subspecies, or group of species in terms of genetic engineering and our new understanding of DNA. This could mean that the entire base pair sequences in DNA, the total number of genes active or not of the total number of active genes. So it means that genetic diversity, in simple words, is the genetic variability present within species, or it can be the product of recombination of genetic material in the process of inheritance. So examples of it are: first, different breeds of dogs. Dogs are selectively bred to get the desired traits. Next, different varieties of rose flower. Next, different varieties of medicinal plant. And lastly, the population of humans consists of individuals with different physical traits. Let's proceed to habitat diversity. The different kinds of habitats in given unit area or simply refers to the range of habitats present in a region. There are many examples of habitats in the world. Some land-based habitats include grassland, mountain ranges, and forest. Numerous aquatic habitats exist as well. They include saltwater marshes, intertidal zones, and the deep sea. Further, the most diverse habit we have are the tropical rainforest on land and coral reefs in marine systems. So lastly is the species diversity, which in turn has three qualities. Species diversity is simply the number and relative abundance of species found in a given biological organization. So, most people recognize biodiversity by species, a group of individual living organisms that can be interbreed. Examples of species include blue whales, white-tailed deer, white pine trees, sunflowers, and microscopic bacteria that can't even be seen by the naked eye. As mentioned before, species diversity has three qualities. First is its species richness, defined as the number of species within a defined region. Second is its species evenness, defined as the distribution of abundance across the species in a community. And lastly, its species dominance, the most abundant species.
Good day, ma'am, and good day to all of you. My name is Ronnie C. Aparesi Jr. and today I will be reporting or discussing the topic biological evolution and the four key processes of biological evolution. First, let's talk about biological evolution. To easily understand the term biological evolution, let's separate this term into two words: biological and evolution. Biological refers to biology, or living organism. Also, it refers to the species with the same kind. So in general, it means that biological refers to life, while evolution refers to the changes of the characteristic of a species over several generations. It means that evolution only happens when there are changes. And when we merge these two words together, biological and evolution, it means that biological evolution refers to the change and inherited characteristic of a population or species from generation to generation. In simple words, biological evolution means that when there are changes on the characteristic of the species, it can be the appearance, behavior, or more. The best example of biological evolution is the human biological evolution. Science believes that we humans started from monkey or apes. Due to this what we call biological evolution, humans started to evolve from Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, and now we can see on the picture that there is an obvious change. That is what we call biological evolution. Now, let's move on to the 4 key processes of biological evolution, which are the mutation, natural selection, migration and geographical isolation, and genetic drift. First is mutation. Mutation are the changes in genes or change in DNA sequence. In evolution, mutation is very important because this is the raw process of evolution. Mutation is the ultimate source of genetic variation. Mutation is important first step in evolution because it produces new DNA resulting to a new allele. So it means that when there are changes in genes or in DNA sequence of a species, it can cause changes to its characteristic, and that is what we call mutation. For example, as what you have seen in the picture, notice that the sequence change from top to bottom. And when that happens, that process is the changes in genetic or the DNA sequence. And when that happens, mutation is on the process, and that can cause change in the species characteristic. Next process is the natural selection. Natural selection is the process through where a population of living organisms adapt and change based on the environment. When there is a variation within a species, some individuals may be better suited to the environment than others. Natural selection is a process by which individuals with certain traits survive and produce better than other individuals in a given environment. So it means that natural selection is where animals or species adapt to the environment in order to survive. For example, as what you have seen in the picture, there are 2 moths in a dark environment. One moth adapt to the environment and one is not. The result of that, the one moth survived and the moth that didn't adapt becomes a prey to other predators. That is how natural selection works. A species should adapt to the environment in order to survive. The next process is migration and geographical isolation. Migration is a movement of population, groups, individuals from one place to another. Migration is easy to understand because we all know what it means. It simply means that when someone moves from one place to another, that is what we call migration. On the other hand, geographical isolation is a physical separation of members of the population from their origin habitat. Population may be physically separated when their origin habitat becomes divided. Geographical isolation means when the group is physically separated due to this what we call geographical features. For example, such as water, lake, river, mountain, or canyon, and more. There are instances that these two is present at the same time. For example, at what you have seen in the picture, a group of snails travel to migrate to another place. Suddenly, there is a crack, and that crack is what we call geographical features. And due to that geographical features, the group of snails has been forced to separate from each other. And that is what we call geographical isolation because the group is being forced to separate. And for connection to biological evolution, migration and geographical isolation is one of the key processes of biological evolution because when a species move from one place to another, they will adapt and evolve to that place. That is why it is included of the one of the key processes of biological evolution because it is one of the major factor that causes change to the species. And for the last process or for the last key process of biological evolution, which is genetic drift, Mr. King Pavilion will explain it to you. That's all for me.
So, hi everyone, good day. I am King Jared L. Pabilan, and karon magtopic ko about genetic drift. So, King, unsa man jud ng genetic drift, King? So sige, ang genetic drift, guys, or mga kaga, it is a process in which random events can make certain genes drift away, and then automatically the genes that survives the random events will get more passed on and ends up becoming with the majority of that population. So, sige King, unsa may sabot ato King, murag wala man kay kung nakaano, murag lisod man sabton. So sige, ang akong elaborate guys ha. Ang genetic drift man good guys, nagahitabo lang, naga-work ang genetic drift pag naay isa ka natural disaster na which mag-lead sa kanang population good nga mugamay, and then kung kinsa tong murag mabilin, mo to siya ang murag like mo to siya ang mo evolve sa sunod. Lisod kwan siya, no? Lisod siya minawon, pero nakoy example dere which is ang kaning kuntahay sa USA. Kani example ni sa USA guys, isipan ninyo sa sitwasyon nga sa USA. Then sa USA naanay mga white 100% white men o 100% black men. So yeah, now mag-isip ta nga nag-tsunami sa US kanang nagana. So untay nag-tsunami na. So ang kuana ni karon natural disaster na siya guys, di ba? Natural disaster ng tsunami. Then after ana kanang kuntahay pagpalagay nato nga ang nakasurvive lang sa black men kay 80%. So and then habang sa white men naman nasa mga 20% lang. So sa tanaw ninyo guys, unsa may kanang sa tanaw ninyo sa sunod nga generation, unsa may murag pinakadaghan nga ano? Sige da, unsa man? Isip kayo dyan. Tama, ang black. Anong black man? Siyempre, kay mas daghan mag nakasurvive sila ha. Kaysa white, 20% lang ang sa white guys. And then, ang sa black, 80%. So, panigurado, sa next generation ana, mas daghan ang black. So, mo na ang tawag sa genetic drift guys. Mo na ang genetic drift. Naga-work lang siya kung naay natural disaster. And then, kung naay makasurvive, matik na siya nga sa sunod generation ato, mo dito sila ang managhan. So, sapot na? So, sige, maghatag pa kong another example pa dyan para mas ma-elaborate dyan na to. Wait, let me grab my paper. So, karon guys, mag-isip tag situation nga kuntahay diri sa Pilipinas. Mag-isip tag ka ng dog. So, mag-imo tag ka diri, line. Lang guys ha. And then karon mo ni ang NG. So next generation siya kuntahay. Then kanitong latest karon LT latest. So sige, karon magkuantag dog. Ang sa dog guys, magdraw tag dog. Di ko bulu magdraw dog guys. Ana upat. So pagkalagay nato yung mga pila ka dogs nya. Sa bawat dog na guys, tahay. Ana. 1 2 3. Nya. Then sa bawat dog na guys, di ba dili mo jud kay purminti kuan man jud na askal naman jud mga laing breed jud no. Tahay mga Labrador ba na, German Shepherd ba na, or uban pa ng mga iro diha. So kung tahay askal ni sila kaning mga ang kaning mga black ug ulo mo ni sila tong kutahay mga German Shepherd ako nuhay nga ana or di kaya kanang mga ubang mga pasero kanang mga brand na hinuon kanang guys ang sige tawag breed bang breed sa mga iro kung tayo Shih Tzu ba na ug uban pa. Tayo mo na sila kanang mga black ug head. Nya ang kaning mga white ug head mo na sila ay mga askal. Pagpalagay na to askal na. Yan na. Karon kay naganuman nagstago ni tahay pagpalagay nato nga nagkuan sa may mga disaster nga pwede maano what do you call this kung tahay na tsunami, sige tsunami gyapon ta tsunami dito mo buwan ng tsunami tayo nag tsunami so may tabuan ni karon tayo nag tsunami nagana nag tsunami guys nag tsunami pag ana so kung tayo umanang tsunami palagay ito umanang tsunami karon kinsay nabilin sila ha kinsay nabilin tayo nag tsunami ya karon kinsay nabilin di ba ang mga askal karon ta i-count na to na sila i-count 1 2 3 and 4 tayo magbilin tag isang kanang naay German Shepherd o tayo naay nakasurvive German Shepherd kunuhay na then karon kani mga nakasurvive na ni matik na sila maadto diri sa next generation. Okay, kasabot no guys? Nakasabot ba ang all? Okay, thank you kay nakasabot mo. So yan then kana karon explain na po ko tayo German Shepherd na karon sa tanaw ninyo kinsa man ang murag mas dakog chance nga mudagan di ba ang askal kay sila man ang kuan tulo man sila ka box kani ang German Shepherd siya ra may isa so matik na jud na og kanang kuan na jud siya nga ang kaning mga askal sila jud ang mo evolve pagka excuse me sila jud ang mo evolve pagka next generation sila ang managhan kaysa kanang mga kanang mga different breeds. So ingana ang kuan guys, ingana ang what do you call this, ingani ang trabaho sa genetic drift, ingani magwork ang genetic drift. Ug unta na mo inasabtan bisan ingani pa man akong drawing guys. So yeah, thank you. So ayun, sana namin nasabtan sa genetic drift no. And by the way guys, ang mga factor na maka-increase sa biodiversity, I mean sa kanaming ana na mga kuan is kanang mga supporting system like ang environment, ang palibot kay kanang guwapo ang kanang na sila na mag-take care sila ha or so on. And then ang kanang mga ang maka-decrease sa mga biodiversity is which is kanang mga distracting sa system which is kanang mga natural disaster or kaya kanang mga hinumuan sa mga factory ba na kanang lain ang environment so mo na maka-decrease sa ingana ng mga situation. So yeah, anyways, sige, move on na ta sa threats to biodiversity which is a topic na di Joshua Micaela Fernandez. So I hope nakapaminaw ang all and then I hope nga namoy natun-an sa ako despite man nagbisaya ako no. Sorry kay ma'am, sorry kayo mga classmates but manglisod ko adili sa manglisod pero murag mas komportable ko mag-explain kung Bisaya man. So yeah, naniagi ng isda. So sige, bye bye ang all. Sana paminaw po mo sa next So bye bye.
Good day everyone, I'm Joshua Micaela Fernandez and I'm going to discuss the threats to biodiversity. But first, let's define biodiversity.
Well, biodiversity is an existence of variety of life within an environment such as plants, animals, fungi, etc. And we all know that we have a lot of environmental problems and those are causing a lot of pressure to all variety of species here on Earth. So we have a mnemonic here, HIPPCO, or we can simply read as HIPCO so that we can easily remember those things. So first, H stands for habitat destruction. We people are destroying their natural habitats for our development, such as clearing a forest or deforestation for vegetation, also for construction, and these are the great intervention in a natural habitat. Thus, animals are dying out. Urbanization is an example of leading to the loss of natural habitat. I stands for invasive species. Invasive species are non-native species that have colonized a new area to the point of damaging the surrounding environment. They are harmful not because of what they are, but where they happen to be. They can come in any forms. It can be something that lives in the land and something that lives in the water. It can be a plant or an animal and even be a microbe. For instance, Burmese pythons were brought from Asia to the United States of America, particularly in Florida, then set loose in the wild, and usually they struggle to survive outside of their natural habitat. They don't know what they need to eat or don't have the right food to eat because nabaguan sila. So that they become an invasive species and they messes it up, and it turns out Burmese pythons were feasting on America's wildlife. Now, many native species that the one that naturally live there are depleting, and we can question ourselves, why can't we just kill off invasive species? Well, some experts tried all kinds of different ways to get rid of them over the years, and some of those efforts turns out backfired. So the answer will be is that it is difficult, time consuming, and they can backfire badly. P stands for pollution. It is the presence of unwanted substances in our environment. The interference of humans in the environment is the major cause of pollution. It can be on land, air, and water. Using chemicals in farming can result land pollution. Burning of fossil fuels can result air pollution. Dumping of garbage anywhere can result water pollution. All of these activities are leading to the pollution, so that all plants, humans, and animals suffer because of the pollution. Second P stands for population. If our population increases, it is predictable that we need more resources and more space, which is clearing out the forests and grasslands, and that leads to habitat destruction also. And when that happens, animals and plants, they are the one who's wretched. C stands for commercial products and live specimens. People not only harvesting chicken, pig, etc. for food, people also obtain or harvesting some rare species for commercial products such as musk deer. They are killed because they produce a demand for manufacture of medicines and perfumes. Bear are killed because of their fur skin and they produce medicines. Rhinoceros, they are killed to obtain their horn to use in ornamental carvings and for traditional medicine. Also, their horn can cure hangovers, cancer, and impotence. And also, tigers are killed because of their fur and also their bones and other body parts which are in great demand for traditional Chinese medicines. And there's many rare species or endangered species are killed for the commercial products, in short, because of human consumption. O stands for overharvesting. It is taking too much from the environment than the environment can support. For instance, people are overharvesting fish for food to feed the increasing human population. Here on Earth, we have limited resources, and if we continue to take, waste, and exploit these resources, then there's not going to be enough left for the natural organisms living in nature, and of course as well as humans. And all of these are the causes of extinction. HIPCO, causes of extinction. So what is extinction, by the way? Extinction occurs when the last member of a species dies. For instance, when a plant or animal species that once lived stops existing entirely, we say that that species has become extinct. Asian elephant, Stegodon luzonensis, Cebu-warty pig, Palawan fossil sirenia, Philippine rhinoceros, and tiger are some of an extinct animals here in the Philippines. Extinction occur because of natural causes and human causes. Okay, that's all everyone. Thank you for listening and have a good day.